So we are going to jump into our next talk of the summit, which is going to be by Ally, developer Ally. She's going to be chatting about the future of Filecoin. So Filecoin obviously has a ton of stuff in the pipeline and recent stuff that has been very exciting announcements. So lots to cover in a pretty short amount of time. So I'll probably just get out of the way and let Ally handle this. So Ally, when you're ready, feel free to jump in here, share some slides if you've got them. And I'll let you take it from here. Thanks so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for the introduction. And I caught a little bit of the end of Lucas's talk, and he's absolutely right. There is so much going on in our ecosystem and so many opportunities to be involved, and so much coming up in the pipeline too, which I want to chat to you about today. So hello all, I'm Ally and I'm a developer advocate here at the Filecoin Foundation. So I'm very happy to be surrounded by such amazing company here at HackFS, and I'm really grateful to be included in today's amazing lineup as well. So I appreciate you all taking the time out of your normal schedules to listen in and to learn today as well. Pat yourself on the back for spending your free time doing something positive for yourself as well. So today I want to chat about the future of Filecoin and some of the projects we're really excited about here at Filecoin and Protocol Labs as well. First, a reminder of why we're doing all this though. So I heard this quote that is up on the slide here a couple of months ago when I was listening to Juan Benet, the founder of Protocol Labs, in case you didn't know, talk at a small peer-to-peer meetup in Paris. And it really struck me at the time because this is exactly why I'm in tech. And more specifically, it's why I'm in Web3. So one of the reasons I went into tech originally is because of just how fundamentally innovative and how fundamentally innovation and technological advancement, if I can get that out, can change and improve our human lives. So tech really creates new frontiers for us, like the ability to take photos of black holes or to build sustainable energy sources, go to the moon many years ago. It can also help us solve some of our increasingly complex problems. So with faster and more powerful computing, crunching over more and more stored and available data, and we'll get to that soon. And it also has the capability to enable changes in not just our daily lives, but those small daily changes do add up, but also in society itself. So we really don't have to look back too far to see evidence of that either. Like in the past 100 years alone, advances in things like healthcare or inventions like the sewing machine, the washing machine, the printing press, and then onto the more modern era of computers, obviously the internet and mobile phones, have drastically improved the lives of millions. And that's paved the way for major social changes and also a rethinking of the value and role of people in society as well. So for example, those household automations gave freedom and empowerment to women across the world. They changed the landscape for women in general for the better. The internet's given more accessibility and education to education and ideas, as well as enabling collaboration on a global scale. And I have no idea where we would have been if the COVID pandemic had been in the 80s, for example. So to me, the real goal is not just tech in and of itself. The real goal is people, and it's improving the human condition by leveraging tech and other scientific breakthroughs to do so. So that's also why it's kind of essential that we're creating a future for the underlying technology that we use daily to provide that open and fair web that protects our human rights and helps move humanity forward. Obviously that's the vision we hold here at Protocol Labs and the Filecoin Foundation. And it's a vision that was also shared by the early web and open source movement, and both of which were founded on being like a cooperative, accessible, and free sharing of knowledge and information. So this is really what drives us here at Filecoin Foundation and the Protocol Labs. And it's a mission that I'm genuinely here for and why I'm working in Web3. And I'm sure many of you have similar stories as well. But it's not without its challenges, of course. So let's talk about data, which is where we really play here. So data is an absolutely essential part of those daily lives and also a super fast growing field in Web3 because we need to enable distributed storage mechanisms that can also enable so many new applications and use cases to be built out with more permanence and with trustlessness and without the silos that we're used to in the centralized world today, which can have a lot of problems. So they have central points of failure, central attack vectors, they're censored because these centralized entities can decide what data they want to put on there, and they can also just lock you out if they don't like you, for example, or you're from the wrong country, you're from the wrong side of the road, you're wearing the wrong socks. It's their choice. It's their centralization model, so they can do that. Anyway, so these current models have several issues, and they also like create vendor lock-in and create a lack of a free market around data pricing and like portability of your own data as well. So we've definitely seen a lot of issues around companies using us as the product. So all of these issues is obviously why Filecoin was originally launched. It's designed to leverage crypto economic incentives to keep data distributed, reliable, and verifiably stored, as well as being incredibly cheap. And this mission and the current issues in data storage is why Filecoin was launched, but as you're most likely aware, and in just over 15 months since we did launch the network, which it hasn't been long, we're so young, we're still babies, we've achieved so many great things, and we've come a long way towards creating an internet scale decentralized storage network. But there's still a lot more to do, and this is why this is why this talk is called the Future of Filecoin as well. So currently, Filecoin enables verifiable storage at scale in that decentralized, trustless, and open way, but accessing and retrieving that data isn't always very simple. It's also not that easy to create programmable applications on top of this data or smart contracts, or to do computation either over state or over the data itself. So all of these technology vectors form the future of Filecoin and the tech stack for the decentralized internet. And we're not just focused on growing the technology either, we're also growing our impact and aiming to build sustainably and with social good at our core value as well, which is why the first project that I are building for the future of Filecoin that I want to share with you today is Filecoin Green. So some of you might have heard of this project. Filecoin Green is an initiative that seeks to make the Filecoin blockchain carbon neutral and in time carbon negative. So we're also a part of the crypto climate accord here. So the thing is, a lot of the conversations happening around blockchains focus on the proof of work chains and how much energy they're consuming. And look, we are thinking about, or at least Filecoin Green is thinking about what the positives are of having this transparent ledger that we can track data on, because Filecoin Green, because we have an open network that allows us to capture and report storage provider energy use and energy sources and efficiency statistics, all of a sudden we can track the energy in our chain, as well as tracking where that energy is coming from. And we can create tools for the entire Web3 space and beyond, actually, to help with tracking their energy systems. And this is becoming a big thing in the world, especially in Europe and many other countries. We're all quite concerned about climate change and we want to create action. So this is what Filecoin Green's doing. It's looking to make the Filecoin network green and sustainable, as well as being an important player in driving those sustainability initiatives in crypto and leveraging that transparent tracking and accountability provided by the blockchain to create those open source tools to measure and reduce environmental impacts in Web3 protocols. And there's even an API you can play around with Filecoin Green and some grants that I'll get to later. So as developers, you can be involved that way. But in order to meet these goals, the team has done quite a few things. They've created an energy dashboard to evaluate the use of energy on the Filecoin chain, which is at filecoin.energy. It's also connecting storage providers in the network to renewable energy and providing assistance and grants to do this, including green grants and the launch of a regenerative finance grant round as well that they've just launched. They're also running hackathons and conferences to gather the community together and hear new ideas and build a greener Web3 dev community. So if you're interested in this side of things, in this action on climate change and creating greener chains and green tools for energy tracking, then Filecoin Green might be something that you want to have a look into. So they've even pledged, and I actually was watching Mark from the Filecoin Green team this morning at ETH Barcelona. He gave, or this afternoon, I should say, at ETH Barcelona, he gave a talk, and this slide really stood out to me. So they've made a Filecoin Green pledge where we want to be 80% renewable electricity procured by end of financial year 2023. So that's not really very far away, and 100% by 2025. So they've made a pledge to try and make this happen on the Filecoin chain. So we're not just buying carbon credits to offset our carbon usage, but we also want to be completely sustainable. So obviously, if you want to find out more about any of this, there's heaps of ways to be involved. Like I said earlier, there is an API. The Filecoin Green team is running hackathons. They're running one at the moment called SBS, and there'll be more in future. There's plenty of places to get update. You can follow updates, follow them on the Twitter for more information and contact them there as well. And you can apply for a Filecoin Green grant as well. So there's grants options for these type of initiatives. And the next exciting thing that's coming up, if you are around Paris or you're going to SCC, just after that, we have a sustainability summit, which they've been planning for a long time and is going to be awesome. Lots of cool speakers there. So July 23, I think that's on, 22 to 23. So check that out if you're around Paris and you're interested in that. So the future of Filecoin is then also highly retrievable with Filecoin Saturn. So at the moment, the Filecoin network is really more of an archival network. When we store something on Filecoin, it can take quite a long time to retrieve that data, which is why our use cases are really for like kind of permanent and open data storage at the moment. But Filecoin Saturn is aiming to change this. So this is one of the reasons Filecoin Saturn is building out a decentralized CDN that will allow anyone to participate in the network from their laptops and other devices and be rewarded for serving files and folders to requesters. So what that kind of means in layman's terms is that I can install something on my laptop and be a part of the Filecoin retrieval network. So not only does this drop latency and improve retrieval speeds in the network, it kind of incentivizes participation and creates a retrievals market, which is a really exciting project. And I'm definitely not doing it justice. You can even actually, at the moment, I believe, currently test it out. So if you do want to join in or try out Filecoin Saturn, and be involved in the beta version of testing Filecoin Saturn, it's currently out and you can check out the GitHub. It's also got a massive roadmap. So this is like a really enormous project, and there's lots of information on the GitHub as well. Like the Filecoin Saturn team does host a lot of demo days, which they record and put up on GitHub. So if you are interested, not GitHub, YouTube, sorry. So if you are interested in seeing more, go and check out some of their YouTube as well. Or as I said, be involved. They're looking for early partners. So check out the code base there and get in touch if you do want to try and be part of this early network. But it will enable so many more people to access the network, or enable faster retrievals. So I can't imagine some of the use cases that we're going to get from having this, decentralized CDN live on the Filecoin network. So pretty exciting project, and we're looking forward to that. Like, obviously, they've got a really quick timeline, or they're hoping to get this out by, Q3 or Q4 of this year. So it's going to be really exciting to see so many people be able to actively participate in this network from their browsers and maybe even their phones in future. Then we'll be just like Silicon Valley's season 4 of Pied Piper. Almost, anyway. Just kidding. Anyway, the next project is one that I'm personally very excited about. And I've been working kind of closely with this team. So I will probably spend a little bit longer on this one, because the future of Filecoin is going to be programmable with the Filecoin virtual machine. What does this mean? This basically means that we're bringing smart contracts to a storage network. So you've got storage, already robust storage network combined with smart contracts. So currently Filecoin's known for being this decentralized storage and retrieval network, like providing a lot of exabytes of distributed data, the largest distributed decentralized data storage network in the world, with thousands of storage providers, obviously. And we can kind of think of this as the layer 0. But it's really just a start because we want to be able to compute and analyze over and with the data on that Filecoin network. So this is the goal of the FVM, to enable users to be able to deploy their own smart contracts, or actors as we call them in the Filecoin ecosystem, or in the FVM ecosystem, and unlock the ability to perform on-chain computation over state data. So this additional layer of capability, which we can kind of think of as the layer 1 on the network, adds programmability to this network. And that is going to open up so many boundless use cases and opportunities. And I know we were speaking to Valis just before, and they're super excited about this as well. And they were part of the early builders team too. So shout out to them for helping to give us feedback on that program and on the early FVM as well. But just a quick look at the technicals. The FVM is built on Wasm Core with the reference SDK built in Rust, and it's also working on supporting EVM and Solidity capability out of the box, compatibility out of the box too. Actually, we've just released milestone 1 of FVM onto the Filecoin network. So it's called the V16 upgrade, the SKYR, SKYR, SKYR upgrade. And that's just been released with built-in actors to the Filecoin Lotus chain. So it's actually running on the network right now, but that is just step 1. So it's only built in actors. The real programmability will happen in milestone 2.1, which will be out later this year. And we're aiming to have that be completely EVM compatible. So it will be the FEVM, FEVM, so to speak. So it'll be the Filecoin, EVM compatible Filecoin virtual machine coming out later this year, which will mean you can bring all your skills from Solidity programming, use all the tooling in the Ethereum ecosystem like Hardhat or Foundry or whatever you like to use. You'll be able to use them and deploy to the Filecoin network and take advantage of some of those extras available in the Filecoin network, like robust storage. So that decision's been made, and so if you want to keep an eye on that, check out the FVM channel of our Filecoin Slack as well. But why does this matter? Are we just trying to build the same use cases as, are already out there in Ethereum in Filecoin? Well, no. It's going to really unlock some really interesting possibilities because we already have this robust storage layer. So this slide kind of illustrates some of those powerful use cases, and that includes trustless reputation systems. So imagine an overlay network of nodes that could patrol this network, this storage network, performing random deals with storage providers in order to gauge key metrics like quality of service guarantees, performance, latency and region details. So those nodes can then store these reputation scores on chain, making them traceable and verifiable, and enabling users to decide on the terms of service and hence the storage providers that they want to use for their data. So that's one possibility for these. And another one is replication workers. So you could ensure the resiliency of your data by ensuring it's always stored n times automatically, or be able to store your data just once in the Filecoin network and have a trustless actor, a smart contract, replicate and send that to multiple storage locations n times. You could also create a user-defined policy of rules for that data to obey. So you can specify things that you got from your trustless reputation system. And one of the big ones is going to be perpetual renewal of deals. So creating basically permanent storage deals, because an actor constantly renews those deals with as many different storage providers as you want. I'm probably going over time here because I'm so excited about this one. So I'm just gonna move on. So the milestone 1, like I said, has already been shipped and is actually running on the Filecoin chain right now. So hurrah. And milestone 2, the EVM compatible one, is getting worked on as we speak, and you can be involved in that process. There's a lot of action happening in the issues. So if you are like a developer that's interested in working on bare bones, or even just reading about how we're building this blockchain, you can go to the GitHub and have a look through the issues, where there's a lot of discussions happening around how we're going to do this and why we're making some of these technical and engineering decisions that we are. Well, actually, as a group that we are making. So there's also dev opportunities. There's open grants for the FVM, and there's an early builders program that will be focused on the EVM compatible FVM builders coming up soon. So keep an eye out for that as well. The next use case that I kind of want to talk about is computation with Filecoin. And it's a bit different to what I just spoke about with the Filecoin virtual machine. So this computation, which is Project Bacalhau, which is Portuguese actually for COD, Portuguese for COD, which is compute over data. So fun fact there, cool name, which I have trouble pronouncing, but I'm sure someone who is Portuguese can probably correct me. But anyway, Project Bacalhau is reinventing science with open collaborative computing. So we're really aiming to help those people with big data sets. So one of the biggest challenges in big data is how to process growing data sets efficiently and quickly while also managing costs. So you can have a look at this top picture here, the typical data pipeline. You've got your ingest and process, you've got your engineer and split, test data, train and process, serve. So Project Bacalhau is really working on this first part of the pipeline. So taking on the challenge to bring data processing to the nodes where it's stored on Filecoin and give researchers and data engineers the ability to publicly reproduce data pipelines. So it's really aiming to transform, if I can get my words out, big data processing by giving developers simple, low-cost, distributed-first tools that unlock a new collaborative ecosystem. So if you're in academics or science, get in touch with the team or check out their repo, which I've linked there. That might be something that is really interesting to you and could be really useful to you. Like I said, we're not just aiming to grow Filecoin technically, we're also growing Filecoin by being part of public goods or creating public goods or storing public data sets that should be stored persistently on Filecoin and IPFS. And one of the ways we're doing this is through the Filecoin Foundation for the Decentralized Web. So this is a non-profit, so it's a 501c for those in America, whose mission is to ensure the permanent preservation of humanity's most important information. And it does this by stewarding the development of open source software and open protocols for decentralized data storage and retrieval networks, and focuses on charitable activities related to preserving important data sets, such as building and supporting the decentralized web community, funding research and development, and educating the public about the decentralized web. And they've done some amazing work, this team, and continues to do some amazing work. So these are some of the Web2 data sets that they have helped to store on the Filecoin ecosystem, on the Filecoin network, I should say. So the Shoah Foundation, if you ever get a chance to watch Tim, I think his name is, from the Shoah Foundation talk, I would definitely recommend that. He's a really interesting guy. But the Shoah Foundation, we're preserving a lot of their data from Holocaust survivors together with Starling. So that's a really cool use case. We're also storing a lot of climate data. So as you can imagine, these climate data sets are massive. They're really big sets of data. So we're storing a lot of that on the Filecoin network as well. We've also worked together with the Internet Archive to help store some of the data around American elections. You could probably guess which one, and do some more with that, just to make sure that it's tamper-proof as well and censorship resistant, and that we are not just erasing history to our liking, basically. So those are some of the cool things that we are doing with Web2 data sets, and that the Filecoin Foundation for the Decentralized Web is doing, and they are doing so much more social good as well. So if you do have kind of a good use case for them, please get in touch with that team, or really it's a charity. So a lot of Filecoin employees lend out their time to working on the Filecoin Foundation for the Decentralized Web. I know we're also starting to store MOOC courses from universities to IPFS and Filecoin as well. So that's going to be a really cool use case that's coming out soon too. And we're definitely working with some of our Ukrainian storage providers to help store some of that data from Ukraine there, because, you know, we all know it's happening there. So, you know, we want to make sure that we're preserving humanity's data and making sure that, you know, it's preserved properly. So the last thing I think for the future of Filecoin is that it's going to be in your browser. And there was a recent announcement as well that I'm just going to skip to it because this is the exciting part. So one of the most exciting recent news stories was the addition of Filecoin to the Brave wallet. So this is a seamless integration together with many of the other projects that I've talked about today, really paves the way for new applications to be built natively on the web. And the team that is like really doing a lot of work in this space, so making sure that Filecoin and IPFS are really accessible or available in the web, is talking to all the browsers, not just Brave, to try and make sure that protocols have a home on all the browsers, is the browsers and platforms team, which is headed up by Dietrich Ayala, for those of you that might know. So he does a lot of work with the Open Web Foundry as well. Also, what's it called? W3C, I think. Yeah. And the open web. He does a lot of volunteering for that as well, and is making sure that, we have a voice at the table there too. So some really cool stuff happening on the browsers team. Another cool thing that happened recently was MetaMask snap deals. So these snap deals kind of allow developers to expand the functionality of MetaMask and make basically instant Filecoin storage deals. So making a storage deal can actually be a bit of a lengthy process on Filecoin. So with MetaMask snap deals, we're making it almost instantaneous. So you can imagine the kind of applications you can build online with something like this, and combined with the FVM, and then combined with that Filecoin Saturn and the retrievability aspect. So there's so many kind of use cases that are coming up for Filecoin to get really excited about, to be honest. I can't even keep up with them all. Like the teams, the ecosystem is doing such an amazing job at bringing all of these kind of different parts of the Filecoin network to life and bringing them together. So we're also looking into how to support Filecoin on or IPFS really on mobile. So if you're interested in building in any of these features, get in touch with us as well, or get in touch with the team. And this is the kind of goals for the browsers and platform team, or what they want to do next. So like I said, lots happening in our ecosystem. We're trying to make it accessible to everyone. We're trying to really expand the use cases and really make an open web, which was our original value mission as well. And the last part, the future of Filecoin is also you. We definitely could not build the future, this decentralized open future that we all want, this censorship-resistant, trustless kind of network, without help from all the developers out there, without help from your ideas. As Lucas was saying before, we just couldn't do it without any of our ecosystem partners, or without your ideas or your participation or your feedback as well. So you and our ecosystem is really the strongest asset in growing the Filecoin network and growing our future, and helping to shape that future as well. And we're always open to your ideas. Like I've mentioned, a lot of the GitHubs are open, actually pretty much all of them. You can go to those GitHubs, you can see those issues, and you can chat on those issues if that's something that interests you. If you're just here to learn, I think Lucas has probably mentioned, and you are at a hackathon already, so you probably already know about the hackathons. And I think Lucas also mentioned that we've got kind of a pipeline from, it's playing. Sorry. So I think Lucas also mentioned that we've got a pipeline from hackathons through to grants, through to accelerators. And then we also have that pipeline that goes into employment opportunities or to our Launchpad program. So please get in touch or be involved if you want to. And yeah, otherwise, I think this is pretty much all from me. I'm excited to see what ideas you come up with some of these projects that I've mentioned that are coming up on the Filecoin network. So really excited to see what you will build with Filecoin. And I'm sorry, I think I'm a little bit short there, Jacob, but I can take any questions or just talk on any kind of topic you like.
Yeah, I thought we had a deal here, Ally.
I was supposed to use filler words. I'm sorry, I forgot about the filler words. My bad.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's great to see like all the I mean, there's so many different directions that like the Filecoin ecosystem is expanding. Like you mentioned, like Saturn, I think you guys are going to run out of planets pretty soon. And then,
well, we're even trying to take IPFS to a satellite with Lockheed Martin, actually. So that's another one that another case I didn't mention, but we recently announced that we're going to be trying to run a node on a satellite together with Lockheed Martin. And look, this isn't just like a kind of stunt as well, because one of the things about IPFS is that because you can trust the content that you're getting, you don't need to care where that data comes from. So it can come from any satellite, friendly or enemy, and you can trust the data that you're getting. You can verify the data that you're getting. So it kind of creates this trustless cooperation. And we are like going to send one up to a satellite somewhere in space. So IPFS is going to space and Filecoin is going to space soon too, which is kind of cool. So thanks for reminding me about that use case.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a stunt, but like it's still cool. Like, I mean, it's going to be in space. But,
definitely.
So,
I mean, it's in the name, isn't it? We had to send it there eventually.
You had no choice. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Well, cool. I mean, we do have some more time. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to maybe double click on as part of kind of some of these exciting things. I know you mentioned like, the FVM work that you're working on in particular, but I mean, like, when you think about kind of, directionally this kind of expanding ecosystem that you've built, like you said, it's only, I think you said like, 15 months old, like it's pretty recent. But, to see all this kind of work that's coming out of it, to me, like, I think kind of Saturn is probably, very exciting just from like the point of view of like thinking about, just speed up saying computation, like where do you turn first? You turn to a cache, a CDN, right? And just like that enables like so much more throughput, which is really interesting. I don't know, like, if there's anything you want to double click on, I mean, we've got the time for it. And of course, anybody who's watching, if you do have any questions about any of the things that we just talked about,
please shout out. I'm happy to talk about anything as well. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be on the topic of this talk. If you have a question in general, happy to answer it for you as well. What I love about Saturn as well is like, firstly, the team, they are amazing. But secondly, they're really doing something pretty unique here, and it's really going to allow more people to be involved in the Filecoin network too, which is like two of the main things that I really love, as well as obviously getting that retrievals going. So the input output that you're used to with like Web 2 applications going on the Filecoin ecosystem. So, I mean, it's definitely going to kind of be a game changer when this comes out. So it's like definitely one of the most exciting things happening in the ecosystem together with FVM, but I'm working on that, so I'm biased. but definitely interested for when this comes out. So, and also people can be part of it, right? You can download this on your browser and like serve files to other people like you would with an IPFS node. So that's, going to be pretty cool to see happen. And like I said, it's you can kind of download that already, I believe, from their GitHub. Hopefully I'm not giving the wrong information out. Everyone goes and downloads it and the team goes, Ally, what have you done? But I'm sure it'll be fine. Let them know if there are any problems too. We're always looking for feedback. Like we said, that's part of the process. We're very open about, trying to get feedback from the community. So if you do try it out and there's a problem, let us know. But yeah, very exciting. Going to open up a heap of use cases. And yeah, as I mentioned, like definitely, I can actually probably talk about a few more of the use cases that the FVM is going to unlock.
I was just about to ask, this slide is amazing. So, I mean, anything you want to dive into on this slide, I mean, this like, clearly you've thought out like what can we do with FVM? So,
I mean, we definitely haven't thought of everything. Like, we can't wait to see what some people do with the FVM. So obviously it's also going to kind of open up the possibility for DeFi. But one of the things that I'm most excited about, given that we're already a data storage network, is unlocking the possibility for data DAOs and the dataverse. So this kind of means like, imagine you're kickstarting the data set economy by tokenizing data sets. So you then get to like capture and represent the value of these like data sets to society. And then you can exchange those data tokens between peers. You can request computation services on that data. Like, you could have validation, or you could join that data analysis, feature detection. And then once you're getting into kind of feature detection and extraction, you're like really kind of then moving into machine learning. And I'd love to I just heard a talk the other day about kind of how we would decentralize machine learning, because it feels like that's kind of right to do as well, because there's, you've got, it takes so much computation, machine learning, and a lot of them are behind closed doors, and that makes sense because they had to collect and tag such big data sets. But if this data is all becomes open, and then we can create this kind of, decentralized machine learning model, I'm just getting carried away now. But the data DAOs and the Dataverse, tokenized data sets is definitely something that's going to be unlocked by FVM. And it's really something that we couldn't do without a storage network, and then having implementing programmability on top of it. So because once you start adding that computation onto the Filecoin blockchain, you have computation and storage under the same roof. And this is really going to be one of the big strengths and differentiators for the Filecoin network. So I'm really excited about that. NFTs obviously is another big use case for us. So we're already storing something 69 million, billion, I don't know, NFTs on IPFS and Filecoin at the moment. So with FVM, you'll not only be able to, store that metadata on IPFS and Filecoin, but you'll be able to mint them on Filecoin as well. And it's completely EVM compatible, like I said. So that's kind of going to be exciting to see the kickstarting of a creative economy, perhaps on where you can then tokenize them as well on the Filecoin virtual machine. So that's going to be pretty interesting as well. And then obviously there's all those things, if anyone's from kind of a storage background, and this is HackFS, so probably you have a good idea of this. When you talk about traditional cloud networks, you want to have user policies around your data. You want to be able to decide where your data is stored, how resiliently, how long for, all these things should be in the hands of the engineer, really, basically. So that's what, is really going to get unlocked by the FVM as well. So you're going to be able to kind of create these user policies because there's going to be these smart contracts, or actors as we call them, on the FVM, on the Filecoin network. So you're going to be able to create user policies that decide how many copies of that data you want. They'll be able to auto heal themselves as well. So let's say one goes down, which is really very rare in the Filecoin ecosystem. But let's say it did, that deal would be able to auto heal itself and store somewhere else off one of the other nodes, which is super cool. And obviously that perpetual renewal of deals is going to be a kind of a cool thing for the network as well. You'll be able to just set and forget, and it'll continually renew these deals for you at the cheapest price and with the parameters that you set for your storage provider. So maybe there's been a government change and you have to change the parameters on your storage provider. Well, on your user policy, you'll be able to do that with the FVM as well. It's also going to kind of unlock L2 bridges then. We already do have some bridges over to Ethereum, to Near, to Polygon, to many of the other cool L1 projects. But this is going to really enable that a lot more because it's already a layer one and already obviously EVM compatible. So yeah, lots going on in FVM land. And like I said, we do have another early builders program coming up. At the moment, there is actually a few demos. I wonder if I've got this on this slide. There is a demo if you do want to play around with kind of FVM actors and how they work. One of our early builders called Jim Pick has created this kind of actor playground with a bunch of examples on there. So you can play around with kind of how they work if you go to that actor playground, which I know this is a bit hard to see, but I can share these in the channel later as well. And there's also videos up on the YouTube about that too, if you are interested. So yeah, thank you. I think I've rambled on enough about some of those use cases, but yeah, super excited about that. And we're aiming for end of year, so Q4 for that to be released, and you'll all be able to start building on things, hopefully.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just so much to explore. So I mean, I don't think you're rambling, honestly. We did get a question actually come in,
Okay.
and it was going to steal my thunder from my question anyway. So I think it was a good question. And yeah, so Dale asked a question about sort of I was going to ask a question about like, what do you want to see built over the next couple of weeks? Because that's my go-to default questions to hackathon. Obviously, we care a lot about what gets built. But Dale had a little bit of a spin on that. So to Dale's question, what are some good examples of non-standard or non-obvious use cases for decentralized storage?
Wow, I mean, you're really throwing a spanner at me here. But look, when I think about what you can build with IPFS and Filecoin at the moment in its current form, and with the dev tools we have available, which I'm sure most people have probably seen, the clearest use cases are for open data or for archival data, like I kind of mentioned earlier. But, one of the best things to do in this ecosystem is to find a pain point or find something that you're trying to build and you can't quite do, and build a dev tool for that. So I love seeing people submit projects that are almost like, I found a pain point in your ecosystem and here's a dev tool to solve it. I love those projects. Or, something we haven't considered. So one of the hackathon entries I saw at, I think it was the Chainlink hackathon actually, but or it could have been ETH New York. I see a lot of these, was like for an NFT.storage helper, for example. And it was aiming to, so people don't necessarily know what the image of the NFT is going to be first, because they're going to dynamically create that. And they wanted to be able to then still store that and back it up to NFT.storage. So they created a helper to do that. Another one was kind of like, I saw a password manager created on IPFS. Link sharing with IPFS is also really cool. But backing anything up to Web3.storage. So I saw a really cool e-commerce site get built out. There was also like a wrapper around YouTube, which is kind of relevant these days, that, stored your channel to IPFS and YouTube, or it didn't. I don't think it quite did that, but, that would be a good way to go as well. So there's really like a heap of ways you could go and think about this, especially if you're thinking about like IPFS as a peer-to-peer protocol that really creates this verifiable content ID. And then you're talking about, storing and persisting that data using Filecoin and using any of the dev tools to do that, like especially Web3.storage or NFT.storage. That makes it super easy for you to do that with. So yeah, there's honestly so many ways you could go with this, like even creating a personal blog post that you'd share, or like, a kind of a Medium or a Stack Overflow, or there's definitely so many things you can do with it. I've definitely seen a lot of really cool stuff with NFTs as well happen. So I don't think that answered the question, but there's some of the ideas off the top of my head, I guess.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I think you explored the space. So I think, everybody's going to be doing that over the next couple of weeks as well. So I guess this is kind of a primer for that. Okay, yeah, awesome. Well, Ally, I feel like I've taken up enough of your valuable time. I really appreciate you being here and walking through all the kind of massive growth of the Filecoin ecosystem over the last little bit. It's really amazing to see, and I think I speak for everybody. I really appreciate your energy and what you're bringing to this. And it was awesome to have you here.
Well, thank you, Jacob, and thanks for the questions at the end as well. Really appreciate that. And happy hacking, everyone. If you do have any questions, we're in the Discord and available as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ally.
Thank you.